Hey friends, it's Alex from Vulture Culture, and today we're going to be looking at the ferocious Korg Wavestation. The Korg Wavestation was released in 1990, and of course everybody knows Korg has updated wave sequencing with their 2.0 version, the Wavestate, which came out last year, and then hopefully soon we will be seeing the Wavestate SE, which is a full 61 key version like the original. I don't want to waste any of your time, so let's get started. So what you're looking at here is a original Wavestation EX from 1991. It's a little beat up. The Wavestation EX doubled the memory capacity of the Wavestation by adding 2 extra megabytes worth of room for samples, which included drums and pianos, which were totally not in the original Wavestation. The Wavestation's an entirely digital affair. So what it does is it takes PCM samples like what were used in the Korg M1, and it puts them in a sequence, which is where you get the phrase wave sequencing from. And it really comes in 2 varieties. One is stepping through different waves, sort of like in a 16th note sequenced pattern. And the other way is where you actually crossfade between the waves. And that sort of sounds like wavetable synthesis, although you can get more complex than something like with Serum or the ASM Hydrosynth. This patch sting waves, but just hold down the patch real quick. You can hear different waves coming in and out. And it just keeps going. And these can be at different pitches. Brings in all sorts of different harmonics. Man, it is incredibly complex. All of the sounds in the Wavestation sound like this. There's these incredible, involving, they just keep going. As long as you hold it down, something interesting happens. You'll notice over here we have a little joystick. It says vector position, and this is an advanced vector synthesis and wave sequencing synthesizer. So vector synthesis was invented by Dave Smith in the Prophet VS. And then sequential circuits went out of business. Dave Smith was picked up by Yamaha, which had a controlling stake in Korg. So they moved him over to Korg and gave him a team, including John Skippy Lemkool, who you might know from YouTube as Plugin Guru. And they created the Wavestation. And so we actually get the vector synthesis from the Prophet VS in the Wavestation, along with the wave sequencing. To hear what this sounds like, if I play this patch real quick, Metropolitan. It's kind of like an FM piano thing. If I move it to the left here, you can hear we get more of like a DX70. And if I move it over here, you get that really slappy, rude, if you want to have like a really crunchy, deep FM type of sound. So this works as sort of a crossfade, sometimes between layers, and sometimes it morphs the sound in an interesting way. Not all of the patches use it, but I'm going to try to play with it when I can remember to. It's just incredible the way it steps through those octaves like that, but kind of like a guitar feedback. So if I play with the joystick here, you can remove that noise. You get those really pure sound. Almost, now it almost sounds like a toy box. And over here, you get none of that toy box sound. So you get a little of both. And it's amazing when you think that, I mean, okay, so just over here, you've got that little inharmonic transient at the front there, and then this ring. Then over here we have wind. I think that's moving in the stereo spectrum, and there's a different transient and then a different sustain, and then of course the noise layer that's adding that breathy quality to it. So that's got to be like 7 or 8 different things going on right there, just on a very simple sound for the Wavestation. The fuck? How am I supposed to even... I mean, it's just crazy how deep this thing sounds immediately. One of the things that I love about the Wavestation is it came out during a time where this thing was totally not popular. There's such an incentive to keep doing the workstation thing that Korg really pioneered with the M1. And they're still doing it, right? With the Nautilus and everything, which is just samples and synthesis. And, you know, it's like, it doesn't do any one thing very well, but it kind of does everything. The Wavestation flies in the face of everything that was popular at the late 80s. This thing is wholly unique in the way that it just went way deep into this one idea, which is this wave sequencing. Like, what can we create? And it didn't even ship with drums or piano sounds or anything, because they were like, nah, fuck that. We're not going to do that. We're going to just do this one thing. And to me personally, if Korg has a legacy, and I have a bunch of Korg synths here, if there's one thing that I think they did that nobody else has ever done, it was this baby, the Wavestation. They've done some other really cool synths, but no one has done anything like the Wavestation to today. I mean, the Hydra synth is getting close with their wave stacking, but that's wave sequencing. And this has always been my favorite sounding synth. And I think a part of it is there's a little mystery to it. It's like when I hear some of these sounds, I'm like, what is even going on? And how would I even begin to program this thing? It's different than an analog synth, which is very direct, or a virtual analog synth, or just most of the synths that are out there where it's like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. This thing is monstrous, but the sonic results are unparalleled. The 2020 update, Wavestate, I don't think has quite this thing's sound. This is the first 10 presets. All right, this is another one where you can really hear the wave sequencing. It's ridiculous. Like sometimes you get a harmonic that's like at the 5th. So definitely like a vocal type sound in there. It's like every pad, I mean, obviously this thing is like so set up for pads, but it's like just hit one fucking note and you've got me entranced for a minute. We actually have a toy box preset. Insane. Funny. This patch is called Vector. I don't know if you can read that. It's very hard for me to read even because this display is so old, but the Vector ironically doesn't do anything on this patch. Whisper voices. Quarks. Oh my god, I could just play this thing all night long. Vocalize. Oh, it's so beautiful. My heart. Northern Lights. It's orgasmic. I don't understand how they did this. Love it. Interesting, a lot of those fluty, breathy, airy type things in this rock stack. I guess that's how rock music sounded back then. Excalibur. Wavetables. It's like a vulgar display of power. Just like what this thing could do. I think you could do like 32 fucking steps So yeah, with 4-voice patch, you can have up to 32 wave sequences playing at once. To put in perspective, like a couple of years before, like I have this Korg GW8000 off camera, that has 16 waveforms in it, period. And you can only have 2 at a time. This can have wave sequences which can be loaded up with God knows how many waves. And then you can layer 4 of those layers on top of each other. It's just like mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling in 2021. In 1990, no one had a fucking clue what to do with this thing. And that is its greatest downfall, which is this interface is terrible for if you want to make your own sounds. I don't know if they ever had like an internal programmer at Korg that like helped them to do this, but using this interface is just terrible for making your own sounds. So like the Yamaha DX7, the M1, the D50, a lot of people use the Wavestation basically as a giant preset box. And it really does work for that. I'm not really into presets, but on this thing, each preset is just fucking crazy. This patch is called Prophet Horn pretty cheekily. Mahogany. Round wound. You can hear that these keys are very clacky. It's an old keyboard. What are you going to do? Motion mix. Stereo waves. So good. Screamer. Woo! I'm actually surprised by how many leads are in this thing. I haven't heard too many basses though. Paradise. Digital touch. Voice and bell. Resonant synth. Oh, here's my bass line. Yeah, I mean, what more do you want than that? Rhythm of the wave. Whoa! It's different this time, probably because I hit the velocity a little harder. Oh my god. How did they program this? My brain is melting right now. Dave Smith, you monster. Station platform. You'll notice that this last key is sticking down here. I need to fix that. Oh, this is a famous one. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy this thing doesn't have a sequencer on it. Like, think about that for a second. There's no sequencer. All of the sounds like this one that were really complex were heavily overused in the early 90s. Jan Hammer used the shit out of this synth. So did Mark Snow, the composer for the X-Files. He used a lot of this. And I also really like the synth because it was used by David Wise in the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack, which is near and dear to my heart. Vulture Culture comes from the first level of the third world in Donkey Kong Country. Second world. Yeah, first level of the second world of Donkey Kong Country. And the famous song Aquatic Ambiance uses the Wavestation, or more specifically, the Wavestation technique. And I think it is sampled from the Wavestation, though. City of Tomorrow. This is one of those where you could just hold down a simple chord. And like, that could be the backdrop of your track. And now you can put drums, bass guitar, everything. But you just start with this. And you don't get bored, you know? You're like, yes, give me more, please. Holy shit. ZZ lead. So it's like an electric guitar sound, but you get this wave sequencing. I love that you get like these weird little pitchy things in here. That might be my favorite electric guitar patch I've ever heard. Whack flute. Now, I love the sound of old samplers. If you listen, you can hear the loop points on that. It reminds me a lot of that type of a sound. Glitter Vox. Plenty of glitter on that sound. Century. Never get tired of these like ocean waves-esque sounds. It's just insanely beautiful. I cannot. This one's called Glider. Oh my fucking God. Gets you right in the heart. This is ridiculous. What am I supposed to make of this thing? Mr. Wavetable? Interestingly, sometimes, like on this patch, when I hit a key, flashes to the Korg screen. Like it crashes or something. I don't know. Might need to get that looked into. Alpine Bells. Crazy that last sound was like a little boring. Nothing on this patch either. This patch is called Lassie Come Home. You can hear at the low end of a lot of these patches, there is aliasing. So the Wavestation and the Wavestation EX run with, I think, a 13 kilohertz ceiling that's aliased out because of the internal sample rate had to be lowered to be able to make this thing possible. So it adds a little sort of a gritty, dirty D to A converter type sound that's really unique and isn't the exact same thing in the VST version of this, which hopefully I'll compare to this at some point. I have it in the computer. It would be fun to do. Echo Hunters. Oh my God. Oh yeah. I just get so pumped off of those sounds. L-Tree? Wow, that's bizarre. This is where I think this synth gets really interesting. Saturn Rings. It seems like these patches, it's like breathy vocal pads, things where you get that stepped rhythmic sequencer-esque thing, and then you get these like really racy arpeggio type pads. It's just crazy. I'm sorry if I'm like being the biggest fanboy ever, but I just cannot with this synth. It's so crazy how it's just so much. And when you compare it to all these other synthesizers I have sitting here, which kind of come down to detune a sawtooth and run it through a filter, this thing just makes me feel intimidated. I think it went through the sequence and now it's going back. Oh, it's so upsetting how complex. This one's actually called Big Pad. fucking ridiculous. Okay, that was just two of the banks that are in the Korg Wavestation EX out of the gate. I am overwhelmed. I am feeling a lot right now. This thing is just so much bigger and badder than all of these other vintage synthesizers I have sitting here. And it's just, I still think in 2021, this synth is ahead of its time. And I know that there's the new version out. And when I listen to that, the Wavestate, I don't get the same chills that run up my spine that I get when I play this. I really want to check out the Wavestate SE, and I know you can access the sounds of the Wavestation, or at least the raw samples that are in this, in the Wavestate. So there's really no reason you couldn't recreate these sounds in the Wavestate, maybe. But I just still think that this piece of history from 1991 is beautiful and an achievement and a landmark. If you want to see more videos like this on vintage synthesizers, please like and subscribe to the channel. Ring that little notification bell. That way you know every time I put up a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.